Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel Climbinator 1978 or 1978, whichever way you want to pronounce it. Now, I'm going to be reviewing a particular Batman film that was released a couple of years ago. And I've heard some mixed reviews about this one. The film Batman and Harley Quinn. Now, I've heard things about this when it came out that it wasn't very good. It was a massively missed opportunity. But I bought this the other day because it was Kevin Conroy's final performance as Batman before his death, his untimely death. And Kevin Conroy, frankly, was the best voice as Batman. May he rest in peace. And it's still so shocking to even think about that he's actually gone. But the thing is, whenever I think of the character of Batman, he is the actual voice I hear in my mind. Because, like millions across the globe, I grew up watching the animated series on Saturday mornings, and that was my Saturday morning to me. Batman the animated series. It was well written, it was well animated, and it was very well acted. And the storylines were exciting for the kids, like me back then. But the writing was also written in a way that adults could enjoy. So it pains me to actually tell you, because I'm a sort of guy that's like, I'll judge a film by, how it comes across to me. And it pains me to say that I wish I'd listened to the early reviews, because this film is poorly written. The actors, they try their best with what they are given, but I feel that even the actors just felt that the storyline wasn't great. And I haven't even got to the storyline yet. But basically, you would think after how the 90s Batman films ended up, you would think after Batman and Robin that the way to treat Batman on screen is not to treat him as a sitcom character. They obviously didn't learn, these writers. Yes, alright, the audience is taken into the story through the eyes of Harley Quinn, but that gives you no excuse to make all the male characters, particularly Batman and Nightwing, look like complete dumbasses. It's one of those films where it's like as if it's written by a bunch of uber feministy types, and I'm not against feminists, but when you put in a film that's clearly got some kind of political agenda, and it's a film like this. I'm like, that's not a good recipe. Because you make characters like Batman, Nightwing, and there's a few other characters in there. You make them look like complete and utter idiots, and they are not. Anyway, onto the plot. It starts off with an action sequence which is not great. It's not really all that gripping. But the film starts off with Poison Ivy and what appears to be at first Swamp Thing. I'm not familiar that much with Swamp Thing apart from the Injustice games and the tiny clips I've seen from the live action films from the 80s. But I know a little bit about him. I know he's one of the distant Justice League members. Or DC hero anyway. Anyway. They're committing some kind of robbery in a chemical lab. Biochemicals. But it's not Swamp Thing that's with her. As I said, it only looks like him. No, it's Dr. Jason Woodrue, aka Floronic Man. Now, if you don't know who Floronic Man is, don't be surprised because he's a villain that's only just come back into the DC Comics universe outside of film. Because he did have a cameo appearance in Batman and Robin. One of the few decent things about that film. Yeah, nice to have a little cameo from a long forgotten villain. And I will say, when I saw him in this, I actually thought, right, that's what they did wrong with Batman and Robin. They shouldn't have had Bane as the third villain. They should have had Floronic Man. And it got me thinking, this film did, it got me thinking that, you know, on ways you could have improved Batman and Robin. So this film bored me so much that it got me thinking about flaws I could change in another Batman film. Anyway, sorry, I just got a little itch there. Starts off with a robbery. This film starts off with a robbery committed by Poison Ivy and Floronic Man. Batman and Nightwing are put onto the case, and Batman eventually says, shall we go back to the Batcave, or shall we go back, chase up some old leads? But they agree to go their own separate ways. Batman goes to the Batcave. Nightwing goes and chase up leads that are connected to Poison Ivy. Hopefully you think this will take just a couple of minutes of screen time. It takes up half an hour. Half an hour in a 71-minute runtime, which is 1 hour 11 minutes. Anyway, Nightwing finds Ivy. She drugs him for a minute with Joker venom. Then he comes out of it. I can't remember how she does that. But anyway, he comes out of it, finds himself tied up to a bed. And yeah, what happens next? If you see this DVD, parents, don't be fooled by the age rating, because what happens next is heavily implied as a very rapey scene. Yeah. You don't see anything on screen as such, it's heavily implied. And anyway, I was like, you okay with this, Nightwing? And yep, a few hours later, he is up for round 2. If you wondered why I haven't put spoiler territory on here, it's because this film is frankly so bad, I don't care. I don't care. Yeah, the tone is inconsistent. It can't decide whether it wants to be dark and gritty or an all-out 1960s style comedy. But anyway, Nightwing and Harley get intimate. Batman finds them. And they go on a trail to find Poison Ivy. This leads to a bar just outside of town where you get this like 10-minute long dance and sing along scene that leads to nothing at all. It really leads to nothing. It leads to absolutely nothing. The singing scene, the bar scene. Oh! And then it all culminates into a warehouse fight at some point between Batman, Nightwing and Harley, who are fighting against Ivy, Floronic Man and a hypnotised scientist. I think it's Emil Hamilton from Superman stories. The scientist dies after coming out of it. He dies in a fire. But Ivy and Floronic Man, they escape. They go to their greenhouse. And it turns out that the whole plot that they've got concocted between them is that they're going to release this like chemical into the water supplies of this swamp. So basically it will disperse across the whole entire globe and turn everyone into human plants. Yeah, that's their diabolical plan. Swamp Thing shows up at the end and he does this monologue babbling about how awesome Batman is and how awesome the world is, and then he disappears after doing absolutely nothing to the plot. Ivy has been KO'd by Floronic Man. Floronic Man is about to disperse the chemical into the swamp. Batman and Nightwing and Harley are all on deck. They're all saying to each other, how are we going to defeat him? Our gadgets don't work. Oh. And then Harley says he's made of leaves. Anyone got a match? This makes... Before I get on to what I think about Floronic Man in this, After Harley says he's made of leaves, anyone got a match? After Harley said that, the end credits start. And then midway through the credits, you see Floronic Man running through the forest on fire. I was so peeved off by this point, I turned the DVD off. Because this makes Floronic Man the most useless DC villain ever. Up to that point I thought he was kind of cool, you know. But no, they made him the most useless villain ever. I could defeat him. An average Joe like me could defeat him if he was real. All I would have to do is just get a match, light it, and go up and defeat him. But of course he doesn't exist. Oh, at least with Ivy, she has a magic love dust that could hypnotise people. And then there's fart gags in this. Fart gags in the Batmobile. And they don't do it just the once. They do it not just the twice. They do it 3 times. 3 times! And as I said, there's the bar scene, which leads to nothing at all, despite having a load of shifty geezers in it. This DVD is the worst kind of Batman media since this. Now, I've featured this in some of my videos before, but you know just how much I hate this game. I hate it so much, I've not even played it in 2 years. 2 years! This is the worst animated Batman movie ever. It sucks. It is the Batman and Robin of the animated universe. The DC animated universe. This is your Batman and Robin, and I hope that you remember that. This is going in the Dungeon of Doom.